Hello everyone, welcome back to another geostatistics lecture video. And in this lecture video I want to go through our first iteration of creating basic linear models. And so before I do anything, we're going to create two different models. We're going to create one with just using sepal width, so it will have one independent variable. And then we're going to create a second model that is going to have two independent variables, sepal width and petal length. And again, these are all coming from the IRIS dataset. And I want to do that so I can show you how we can incorporate multiple variables, and then how we can summarize them in the next video. So what we're going to do, this is going to be hopefully a slightly shorter video, is we're actually going to use a function that comes in the stats package, which is a package that loads sort of by default with R. We're going to use the function lm, just to make sure we don't accidentally draw anything in that we don't need. lm. So lm is the linear model function, and this is going to basically carry out our ordinary least squares regression. And so you'll see that it has a bunch of different parameters. We're really only ever going to worry about the first two, and that is formula and data. And the reason why I want to generate two models is because I want to show you how this formula parameter works, because it's a little bit cumbersome if you're not used to how it works. So the way this is going to work is we're going to generate a new, we'll call it 1 var mod for one variable model. And this is going to regress the sepal width on sepal length. So sepal length is our dependent variable and sepal width is our independent variable. Okay, so we're going to again call from the stats package linear model, or LM. And so you'll see that it has the contextual menu showing all of the parameters that we need. We're only going to work on formula and data. Okay, I'm actually going to do data first because it's the easier one. Data is just the data frame that we are working with. So in this case, it's going to be Setosa. Actually, it's not going to be Setosa. I am sorry. It's actually going to be training, which we generated in the previous video. I'm going to run it again just to make sure that it exists, along with running a test just to make sure that it exists. Okay, so if you don't understand what I just did, go back, rewatch the testing and training splitting video. But basically, I now have the majority of my data as a training data set that we're going to use to generate our model. So formula, this is a little bit more intricate. It's kind of a weird syntax, but basically the way that it works, generally speaking, is you have your independent variable, and you don't need to attach the name of the data frame in front of it because we're specifying that where we said data. So we can literally just type in SPE. You know what? Because I know I'm going to butcher it, I butcher it every time. Let's quickly give ourselves the names associated with Setosa, because I know myself, I know I'm going to butcher them. So we're going to take sepal length without the quotes, right? Because this is our independent variable. Then the shift, and then the key that is above tab, it's called the tilde. And that's what that little wiggly line is, it's called the tilde. We do shift, and then we get the tilde. And so this says independent variable regressed against, and what do we want to regress it against? What is our dependent variable going to be? Well, in this case, our dependent variable is going to be sepal width. Okay, that's all we need to do. So this is going to create a linear model, an ordinary least squares regression, using sepal length regressed against sepal width. Independent variable, tilde, tilde, dependent variable. And then the data set that we're going to use is training. So if we run this, hopefully we don't get any errors. Perfect. We're going to talk about what we do with this in the next video. What I want to do now is I want to go through setting up another regression. going to call this toVarMod, just to show you how we would do multiple independent variables. So just like before, LM, it's going to require a formula and data. So data is going to be the same. We're still going to call that training. This formula, this is where things get different, because we're going to sort of set it up kind of the same with sepal.length as our dependent variable. We're going to use the tilde, but now because we want multiple variables, we're going to link them together with the plus sign. So again, I want to keep sepal.width, but I also want to include now a second variable, so I'm going to use the plus sign, and I'm going to add in, and again, because I can never remember the names, which apparently I have accidentally removed, but they're down here, we're going to include petal.length as well. So I'm simply going to copy and paste that. So what is this going to do? This is going to create a new model, right, because we have a new variable, calling LM again. It's going to regress to predict sepal length regressed against sepal width and, sepal width and petal length, again coming from the training data set. So if we run this, we hopefully get no errors. Okay, so what we're going to do in the next video is go through sort of interpreting the results and doing some plotting to visualize what we've actually got. So hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully this formula makes sense, because this is, again, this is kind of some, in my opinion, some of the weirder syntax that comes out of R. So hopefully this makes sense, and as always, please reach out. Thank you.